They were on the biggest shows on television. Beautiful, talented, everyone wanted to work with them. And then, the diva behavior started. The tantrums, the impossible demands, the drama that made headlines. This is every TV star who went from beloved to don't even think about hiring them. Segment 1. Katherine Heigl. Let's start with the queen of diva behavior, Katherine Heigl. Grey's Anatomy. She was Izzy Stevens. She won an Emmy. She was gorgeous. She was America's sweetheart. Rom-coms were throwing money at her. And then she decided to burn every bridge in Hollywood. In 2008, she withdrew herself from Emmy consideration because the writing wasn't good enough. She publicly trashed the show that made her famous. But it gets worse. She complained about working 17-hour days on Grey's Anatomy while doing press for Knocked Up. Then she called Knocked Up a little sexist, the movie that made her a movie star. By 2010, Shonda Rhimes wrote her off Grey's Anatomy. The rom-coms stopped calling, directors started passing, and Katherine Heigl went from Golden Globe winner to difficult in record time. She's apologized multiple times, said she put her foot in her mouth, but the damage was permanent. Hollywood forgives a lot, but not someone who publicly trashes the people who made them rich and famous. That's not diva behavior, that's career suicide, and Katherine Heigl is Exhibit A. Segment 2. Shannon Doherty. Shannon Doherty, Beverly Hills 90210. Brenda Walsh, one of the most iconic teen dramas ever made. Doherty was the star. Beautiful, talented, the breakout of the show. And then the story started. Fighting with castmates, showing up late, attitude problems. By season 4, the tension was so bad that Aaron Spelling, the creator, fired her mid-run from his own hit show. But she got another chance. Charmed, 1998, another hit show, another leading role, and the same pattern repeated. Reports of tension with Alyssa Milano, drama on set, and after 3 seasons, she was written off again. 2 massive TV shows, 2 exits, both reportedly due to on-set behavior. That's a pattern Hollywood doesn't forget. Doherty fought cancer publicly and became a symbol of resilience before her death in 2024. But in terms of her career, the diva reputation followed her everywhere, and it cost her the legendary status she could have had. Segment 3. David Duchovny. David Duchovny, The X-Files, Fox Mulder, one of the most iconic TV characters of the 90s. Duchovny was the face of one of the biggest sci-fi shows ever made. Handsome, talented, the show was a cultural phenomenon. And then the contract dispute started. After season 7, Duchovny sued Fox for $25 million, claiming they cheated him out of profits. He wanted off the show. He wanted to do movies. He thought he was bigger than The X-Files. Season 8, he was barely there. Season 9, he only showed up for a handful of episodes. The show limped along without him and eventually ended. His movie career? Mostly forgettable. Evolution, The Joneses, nothing that justified leaving one of the biggest shows on television. Years later, he came back for the revival seasons, but by then the magic was gone, and the reputation stuck. Duchovny was difficult. He thought he was too good for TV. He battled with producers and left the show that made him famous. The X-Files could have ended on top with Mulder and Scully together. Instead, it ended with a lawsuit and a star who wanted out. That's diva behavior, and it cost him the legacy he could have had. Segment 4. Claire Danes. Claire Danes, My So-Called Life, Romeo and Juliet, Homeland. Gorgeous, talented, multiple Emmy wins. She should be untouchable. But there are stories, lots of them. She reportedly didn't get along with Leonardo DiCaprio on Romeo and Juliet. He called her difficult. On the Homeland set, reports of her being demanding and emotional ran for years. And then there's the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. In interviews, she basically admitted they didn't click, that he annoyed her, that the chemistry was acting, which is fine, except when your co-star is one of the biggest movie stars on the planet and you're publicly saying you didn't like working with him. Has it hurt her career? Not as much as others. She's talented enough that people still want to work with her, but the difficult whispers never fully went away, and after Homeland ended, the big offers didn't exactly flood in. Sometimes talent can outweigh diva behavior, but even then, people remember, and they think twice before calling. Segment 5. Megan Fox. Megan Fox, Transformers, one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. She was everywhere in the late 2000s. Magazines, talk shows, every hot list ever made. And then she compared Michael Bay, the director who made her famous, to Hitler. In an interview, while promoting Transformers. Steven Spielberg, the producer, reportedly had her fired from Transformers 3, replaced with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, and for years, Megan Fox couldn't book a major role. She's talked about it since, said she was young, that she spoke without thinking, that Hollywood punished her for speaking out, and maybe she's right, but calling your director Hitler is not how you play the game. She's made a comeback recently, but for almost a decade, she was box office poison, not because she couldn't act, because she said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and Hollywood doesn't forget that kind of disrespect. The lesson? You can be the most beautiful woman in the room, but if you bite the hand that feeds you, they'll find someone just as beautiful who doesn't. By the way, if you're into Hollywood deep dives like this, hit subscribe. We've got way more coming, and it actually helps us keep making these. Thanks. Now let's talk about the TV stars who didn't just get labeled difficult, they got fired from massive shows because producers couldn't deal with them anymore. Segment 6, Patrick Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey, Grey's Anatomy, Dr. Derek Shepherd, McDreamy, one of the most beloved characters on the biggest medical drama in television history. Women loved him. He was the heartthrob, the romantic lead everyone was obsessed with. And after 11 seasons, he was killed off. But here's what most people don't know. It wasn't his choice. Reports came out that Dempsey had become extremely difficult to work with, that there were HR complaints, that he was causing problems on set. Shonda Rhimes herself later hinted at it, saying there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Lynette Rice's book about the show revealed Dempsey had terrorized the set, that his behavior had become a serious problem, that the working environment had gotten toxic. So they killed off McDreamy, one of the most iconic TV characters of the 2000s, because the actor behind him had reportedly become impossible to work with. Dempsey's moved on, he's done movies, he races cars, but he went from being the romantic lead on the biggest show on TV to a guy who got fired for diva behavior. That's a fall. And all because he couldn't keep it professional on set. Segment 7, Misha Barton. Misha Barton, the OC Marissa Cooper, early 2000s. The show was massive. Barton was stunning. She was the it girl of teen drama. And then everything fell apart. Reports of her being difficult on set, showing up late, drama with producers, and after 3 seasons, her character was killed off, reportedly because the producers were done dealing with her. But it gets worse. After the OC, the tabloid spiral began. DUI arrest, psychiatric hold, a very public meltdown. The career never recovered. Barton's talked about it since, said she was overwhelmed by fame, that she was struggling, that Hollywood chewed her up and spit her out. And maybe that's true, but the diva reputation, that started before the breakdown. And it's part of why no one gave her a second chance when she needed one. Hollywood can be brutal to young actresses who can't handle the pressure, especially when they're labeled difficult first. Segment 8, Lea Michele. Lea Michele, Glee, Rachel Berry, one of the biggest musical TV shows ever made. Michelle was the lead, insanely talented, beautiful, Tony-nominated. She should have been unstoppable. And then in 2020, everything came out. Samantha Ware, a former Glee co-star, accused Michelle of making her life a living hell on set. Other cast members backed her up. Stories of Michelle being a nightmare to work with flooded in. Michelle apologized, said she was perceived in a different way than I intended. But the damage was done. HelloFresh dropped her as a spokesperson. The Funny Girl Broadway run she was supposed to lead went to Beanie Feldstein instead, and when Feldstein left, they still didn't call Michelle. Eventually, Michelle did get her Funny Girl moment on Broadway in 2022, but the diva reputation never fully disappeared. And now every story about her comes with a "but she's difficult" asterisk. Talent can only take you so far. If people don't want to work with you, your career has a ceiling, and Lea Michele hit hers. So there you have it. Gorgeous, talented TV stars who became famous for their diva behavior as much as their acting. Some recovered, some didn't, but all of them learned the same lesson. In Hollywood, being beautiful and talented isn't enough. You have to be someone people want to work with, because there's always someone just as beautiful, just as talented, and way easier to deal with waiting in the wings. Katherine Heigl, Shannon Doherty, Megan Fox, Lea Michele, they had everything. And they made it harder than it needed to be. Some by speaking out, some by burning bridges, some by just being difficult. The question is, was it worth it? Drop a comment with your thoughts. Who do you think had the worst diva behavior? And who got unfairly labeled? We read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.